in Ephesians chapter 4, please. Today's conference is Doctrinal Winds, Teaching Winds. That we should no longer be children carried by the waves and blown about by every shifting wind of the teaching of deceitful people who lead others into error by the tricks they invent. But speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things into Him who is the head. This is Christ. The first thing that I thought when I began to prepare this message, or best when the Lord inspired me to teach this topic, He said to me, all doctrines of minds, men cannot do anything. All doctrines derived, especially when we speak about doctrine, religious doctrine, Christian, biblical doctrines, all originate from me because men want to follow me. Men want to serve me. Some do it to snatch and deceive, but some do it in good faith. And they may be wrong, but they comes from the heart. But all doctrine, all winds of doctrine come from God. He's the one that created them. For an example, I have 9 steps here, which I'm going to review quickly. Let's review them. The first one is, for an example, the law of Moses. The law of Moses. Who gave the law to Moses? God gave it to him. But Paul says that ministry, though it had glory, was what? Perishable. Why was it perishable? What does perishable mean? That it was going to pass. It was going to pass. So if it was going to pass as a wind, winds blow and what happens? And pass. All wind comes to an end. Imagine a hurricane that never ends. An Andrew here in Florida that never came to an end. It passes. All winds pass. So the doctrine, the law of Moses, what's known to be the law of Moses, was given by God, but it was momentarily because it perished, because a new covenant was coming. Also, there's the doctrine Paul mentioned, doctrines and commandments of men. That Paul mentions, doctrines and commandment of men. Those were all doctrinal winds that all were born from Moses. All winds of doctrine has to do with the flesh. That's why the covenant of the law was perishable, because it was given for the flesh. The covenant that was to come was for the inner man. That's why Paul said, brother, from on now we know no one according to the flesh. Why know people according to the flesh? If God does not deal with flesh anymore, the flesh ended at cross of Calvary 2,000 years ago. Well, the winds are teachings of winds. So Paul knew that the church was going to go through different doctrinal winds,